Let's see. All right, testing. All right, guys. Good morning. Welcome aboard to the Morning Note. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of G.A.R Capital. Thanks so much for taking the time out of your day to join me this morning. Something a little new, bottom right-hand corner of your screen, it's now a black logo. It's our updated logo for G.A.R Capital. If you click on that, turn on notifications, subscribe to our channel, like our videos. Appreciate it as always. It is standing out a little bit more, so in terms of the bottom right-hand corner of any chart, what I'm going to do is make sure to expand it. So again, you guys don't miss anything on the bottom right-hand chart. The bottom right-hand chart is the crude oil chart. So I'll expand that while we go over everything this morning. It is Monday, July 11th, brand new week, rock and roll. We got a lot on board on tap this week, guys. So glad to be here and to talk about it. We do have inflationary data this week. We got some retail sales this week, and Friday is options expiry day, so OPEX. So keep that in mind. We got a lot of things happening. So let's go ahead and kind of switch it up and start with the week in review, or the upcoming week. I posted this on Instagram as well. This is from Forex Factory. Let's go ahead and get this going. Okay, I am ready now. All right, rock and roll. All right, so for a Monday, we do have FOMC member Williams speaking at 2 p.m. Other than that, not much going on. We have small business index. We have the 10-year bond auction tomorrow. We also have some economic optimism report of some kind of survey. This one I've not heard of, TIPP, economic optimism. There's so many surveys nowadays that they almost kind of overlap each other at a point. CPI month over month, we have a forecast of 1.1%. The last rating was 1%. Core CPI expectations 0.6%. That'll be on Wednesday at 8:30 in the morning. We also have crude oil inventories. Again, let's see how the energy market responds. We have a 30-year bond auction. So we get a 10-year and a 30-year. Big day for fixed income traders and bond holders or bond investors. As you know, I still have my position on TLT, been talking about that for a little bit, so I'm still bullish on government bonds. But the 30-year bond auction and the 10-year bond auction will show us any kind of demand for fixed income. We also have the beige book and the federal budget balance at 2 p.m. on Wednesday. Moving on to Thursday, we have producer price index, which is PPI, core PPI as well, and then unemployment claims like we do every Thursday. FOMC member Waller speaks as well. That'll be at 11 a.m. Moving on to Friday, we have core retail sales and retail sales. Let's see how the consumer is doing with a higher inflationary environment and a tightening environment. We have Empire State Manufacturing Index. We got preliminary University of Michigan consumer sentiment, which has been at record lows lately. Let's see if we get some kind of bounce on that. So that's where we are in terms of economic data this week. In terms of earnings, we do have bank earnings this week as we are kicking off. So July and August, rock and roll. I did the video for Investment Club on Saturday. That is going over everything in terms of what we expect in the future this year, and what has happened the first half of 2022. Again, if you do want to check out that video again, for the Investment Club members, it is on Discord. It is a private video, so you have to use the link that's on Discord, guys. Now let's go ahead and go over the day's action or overnight action. The Dow is down 156 points, and we have the Nasdaq down about 0.64%, S&P down 0.60%, Russell down 0.72% this morning. Crude oil down about 2%. Gasoline futures again down 1.38%. Gold is down 0.41% at $17.35 an ounce. Silver down 0.21%. Again, the reason why commodities are down and the stock market is down is really the dollar. The dollar's testing the 108 handle now. Again, we've talked about how important it is for the dollar to be coming down. And we're going to go ahead and max this out. And again, guys, we kind of have now, in a sense, really a journey to 114. And we haven't had that since 2003. So again, we have an elevated dollar. That's the highest we have seen since right around 2003, 2002. So that's something to look at. Again, it's very difficult, and that's a big headwind for big corporations when you have a strong dollar and you do business overseas and receive overseas currency depending on the country you do business in. Take a look at 10-year yields. Nice drop again. Looks like we hit some kind of resistance on TNX at the 100-day moving average on the short end, 20 days. 20-day chart, 1 hour chart, 100-day moving average was kind of rejected here. The 200-day and the 100-day are crossing. We did fall. We are now testing the 20-day. Again, very short-term moves. We are now at 3.01%. And again, what's important is the fact that we have the bond auctions this week. Let's see what the market gives us in terms of yields. Next, we have the volatility index. Let me go and expand this, make life easier. Volatility index today. Again, still downward trend. We also have a gap to fill downwards to 24, 25. We don't have a gap to fill on the dollar that I can see of, even though we did move higher. Let's see if we have a gap to fill on the daily. No gaps to fill on the dollar, so ignore that. Ignore any time technical reason in terms of the dollar. Looks like it's just pure demand here. And then you have crude oil on the bottom right-hand corner. Let me expand that. We're going to the daily. And again, guys, we know what we're looking for. Well, at least I know what I'm looking for. I'm looking for that 92.97 level, which is the 200-day moving average. Anywhere between 95 and 90 is where I'm looking at to go ahead and dip my toe into some energy or add some more energy exposure, at least with the refiners. And that's where we are. Let's go and take a look at some pre-market movers. We'll answer some questions. Twitter deal is not going to go through according to Elon Musk. So again, time for the court battle as Twitter is down about 6% this morning, leading the downside. Taking a look at the Dow, Chevron down 1.5%, Nike down 1%, Intel down 1%. Again, we also got some news that Macau was shut down due to more COVID scares in China. So again, anything China is going to take a hit. I do have some BABA calls. They're down. Tesla is the one that's green today, up 1% on no deal with Tesla. So, with Twitter. Meta Platforms down 2.24%. NVIDIA down 1.5%. JD.com down about 3.26%. Baidu down 3.5%. I believe BAB was down about 3% this morning. Again, it's all about the China headlines with Macau. Let's go and take a look at that chart. BAB on the 1 hour chart, gap down to the 200-day moving average. Let's see if it does turn around. I know for a fact I will be red on these calls, but again, I'm going to kind of give it about an hour, maybe 30 minutes and see if we get at least some bullish momentum. If you're taking a look at SPY this morning, guys, here is what we're looking for, or E-mini futures or SPY. I'll look at both. Give me a second here. All right. So again, the level I'm looking for is around 38.60 to 38.57. If we do break down below, I would like to target around 3,800 for a downside. But again, I still think that we still get a little more upside. The only thing that's kind of holding us back now is really the dollar. I say we at least get to this 50-day moving average this week, around 39.69. That'll probably happen ahead of CPI. Maybe CPI does roll over. But again, I think my contention is that all that commodities move that we've had to the downside happened in July. We're not going to see that in the CPI this month. So again, I still expect the CPI to be elevated. I think the next month will be the money month where I think this CPI will be the highest one and be the peak one, the final one, and then we'll roll over into August. But that's just my opinion. We have to take a look at the CPI numbers and PPI numbers moving forward. So that's in terms of ES. Let's take a look at SPY. If you guys are SPY traders, what is the level we're looking for to short or go long? Right around 384.51. If we break that, that's where I want to start looking for a short. Kind of lines up with what I'm looking for at ES. Again, I could target about 380 or so. If we get to QQQ, again, 297.05 for a breakout, 289.68 for a breakdown is what I'm looking for. In terms of SPY, again, to the upside, you need to start getting around here, 392.52. If you get above 390, sure, you could probably ride it to 392. But again, you're going to run out of room there in terms of options, which makes it more difficult. If you're trading futures, then it's fine. But again, options on SPY is going to be tough to the upside. Downside would be a little more flexibility, 384.52. Again, we do have a lot of economic data coming out. So right now, it really is a flip of a coin at this juncture, since I know we're red this morning. But again, we're still kind of hovering and kind of moving some sideways action. Again, 38.60 being that money level for the S&P. Let's answer some questions. John is asking about Apple. Let's go ahead and expand this. Take a look at Apple right now. Apple right now is down to the upper end of the chart here in the last 20 days. So what does that tell you? It tells you that we're above that 20-day moving average on the daily. I still think 150 does hit this week. So we don't have much news in terms of Apple earnings doesn't come until a couple of weeks. So again, if the Nasdaq goes higher, I'm definitely targeting the 150s, John, this week. If not, in order to short, really, we need to get a counter trend. We need more downsides around 138.22. And again, like I talked about the investment club, if you guys watched, then I don't think a bottom has been reached. I still think we're going to get to 4,000. And after that, we'll go ahead and retest the lows because we still have those earnings revisions coming. Some nice price action, don't get me wrong, especially earlier of the month. But we know how that's been going. Earlier in the month has been fine. OPEX, we slow down and then we roll over to the end. And then the new month starts doing well again. That's been happening since around April. But again, that's all we can go by. Apple's showing strength and they get higher high. That's very true. Again, I think 150 is your target. If you're looking to go long, I would go the 150 calls on Apple as long as you stay above 145. That's pretty much the momentum play. Uh, Thoughts on Tesla calls this week? Tesla, one of my Instagram buddies named John, he actually went long Tesla on the 700s. Good for him. I did not trade Tesla this week or last week. I traded some other names, obviously. But if we go to the daily, 770 seems to be that level to go by. I would not target 770. I'd probably target 820. Maybe buy yourself an extra week, if anything. But again, as long as you kind of hold this 50-day moving average on the daily, put a stop at 740.29, possibly. If you really want to give yourself some room, if you're swinging it, maybe you test the 20-day, excuse me, for a short or for a long, your stop would be around 700 or 696 if we retest. But again, 770 seems to be that breakout level. Again, you could target that. It's going to be expensive for this week. If anything, maybe you want to go to 820 or 830, kind of go out of the money and see if you can get that momentum to 775, and then you can cash out. Again, if you're out of the money on Tesla, it'll be a little cheaper. But again, the moves are going to be a little more, let's call it violent or protruded. Again, so if you're out of the money and you start retesting let's say that 20-day, that purple line, you're gonna get probably nuked. So you need to have a shorter term stop if you're playing Tesla, right around 740, right around 735. I know it's gonna be a quick one, but again, if you're taking a look at that, watch the volume, 800 to 820, if you can swing it on that one. Thoughts on, I would say thoughts for Tesla. I just answered that. Apple, yep. And again, we talked about that money level with Apple. 150. I'll be watching that today. As long as we hold up on S&P futures, the good news is that on the Nasdaq, remember the Nasdaq does well when yields are down. So again, still keep an eye on Nasdaq as well. We have the levels here on Qs. You have 289.68 for support, 297.05 for resistance. Let's see if we get that break. Good news is that 10-year yields, if we fall a little more, it should help out Nasdaq. In terms of S&P, again, we've seen this kind of sideways action right now. We're waiting for around 38.60 for support to hold. If it doesn't, if we get above 39.05, maybe we can see if we could get some more upside. We'll go and leave it there, guys. Have a great rest of your morning. I'll catch you guys later this afternoon for the market recap. Have a great one. Let's make it a great week. Happy Monday, and we'll catch you guys this afternoon. Cheers.